So now we will show you about the adhesion type options which you can use for printing your objects. Suppose this is your object on the print bed, and if you select brim here and slice it with brim, you will see that the original object is only this much. But if you will see the sliced object, you are seeing that this is a part, that the inside and the outside of the box has some printed part. So this is called as the brim, which is printed on the outside perimeter of the box and on the inside as well. If this box would have been solid, or if this box would have had a base, then the brim would have printed only on the outer side of the box. The brim is actually useful if the object to be printed has very less contact area with the build plate. In that case, you can use brim to improve the adhesion of the object to the print bed. Now if you slice it without brim, you will see that there will be no additional part printed and it will only be the object itself. Now if you select raft from here, you will see this object. Raft is also almost similar to the brim, but it is printed, it covers the entire area of the object. So you can either print with brim or you can print with raft. Raft is generally, first the raft is printed and above that the entire object is printed. Actually what has happened here is, I will show it to you in more detailed way. Now if you see, this is the sliced version of your object, and if you zoom in this object, so this is how your object will be printed. These are the individual layers or the lines, right? So if you all this is available in the next tab, that is the print view tab, which is the third tab from the slicer. This is the sliced part. This is the sliced version of your object. This is the first layer, or you can say this is the raft. If it is without the raft, suppose if we select no raft and if we slice it, then you will see that there is nothing here. But if again you have selected raft here and you slice it, you will see that this is the raft. So if you move it up by clicking on this, you will see that there is a change. So first it will print the entire raft. This entire thing is the raft. First it will print the raft, and this layer which has come up, this is your main object. So the difference between brim and raft is, first if you make it 0, this is the raft. First it builds the entire base, which is called as the raft, and above that base it starts printing the object. So this is your main object which is printed on the raft. Okay. Now what is the difference between brim and raft is, if you select brim here and if you slice it, I will show you the difference. Now there is nothing here, and for the first layer, this is the brim. This is the first layer. If you see here, this is the first layer. Now second layer. So this is the first layer. This is the first layer, and the object is not printed on top of these layers, but in between the brim layers. right, in between the brim layers. It is like just like a wall, and these extra layers are just supporting this wall from both the sides. Whereas in case of raft, the object would have printed on this entire thing. Whereas in case of brim, the object is not printed on this brim, but it is just supported by the layers. You can see that it is just being supported by the layers from this side and from outer side, from the inside and from the outer side of the object. So this is the difference between the brim and raft, and both these things are useful in increasing the adhesion. But if you are using the print method which is provided by us, then you will hardly need the raft. But yes, you can use the brim for the objects which has very less contact area with the bed. Printing with raft makes it difficult to remove that raft from the base of the object, and hence it results in bad quality of the print at the base of the object. So this is brim and raft. So if you don't want to print it with any adhesion type, you can select none and click on the slice with. Now you can see that this is the sliced version without brim or without raft. These three lines which you see here, apart from the object, these three lines, these are called as skirt, right? And this is your main object. If you click here, this is your main object which is building upwards. These three extra lines are called as the skirt, and you can change these settings by going in Cura engine configuration and going in the structures tab under the print tab, and if you scroll it down, you will see skirt and brim. Skirt line count 3. We have made the skirt line count 3 here. That is why you are seeing 3 lines, right? 1, 2 and 3. 3 lines. So if you change it to 1, say 1, whatever changes you make here, you will always have to click on the save button. Otherwise they will not be available. And then you slice it again, and there you go. You see that there is only 1 line. So actually this skirt is helpful in priming your hot end. So first the printer will print this skirt. So if it is like this, so first it will print this perimeter, and after that it will move on to the main object. So this actually helps in priming your hot end. That is, it helps in filling your hot end with fresh melted plastic, and it will, whatever is the residue plastic from the last print, it will be extruded while printing this skirt. And it is always advisable to slow the speed of the printer while printing the first layer or while printing the skirt, so that the hot end is primed properly. That is, it is filled properly and the extrusion has started in a proper way, so that when it reaches to the main object for printing the main object, there is no problem in extrusion and the extrusion is coming out properly. So you can again go to the slicer configuration tab, and if you do it 0, there will be no skirt. Then the printer will start printing the object straight away. Now if you see another option, that is brim width. As we have showed you what brim is actually, if you reduce this number or increase this number, the brim width in horizontal side will increase or decrease. This is the skirt distance. That is how far away this skirt will be printed from the main object. So if you reduce this, so you give it 1, save and slice it again, the skirt will move closer to the main object. Similarly, if you increase this distance, the skirt will increase. So we'll keep it at 3 right now. So this is about skirt and brim. So this is quality type, that is your z-axis resolution, or which is generally referred to as layer height, that is 0.2 mm. Now we come to support type. For that we will select another file. Suppose this is the file that we have selected. Now if you print this object as it is in this orientation, you will not require any support. Even if you select it as support from the option and slice it, the slicer will not put any supports here because there are no supports required as per the various settings, right? So no support is required here. But if we reorient this part, say if we rotate it 90 degrees like this, now if you want to print this object, it can be as it is, it cannot be printed. It can be printed only with the help of the supports in this orientation. So for that you will go to slicer, support type. If you click touching bed and slice it, then you will see the supports in the sliced object. This you can zoom in. And there you see that all this is the support object. If you see the main object, it is like this, and if you see the print preview, all these structures which you can see, these are the supports. So once the print starts, first these supports will be printed, and on that the entire object will be printed. So this is the complete, this is how your part will be printed exactly. So whatever you see in print preview tab after slicing your object, that is how your part will be printed on your print bed. So if there is any issue or if there is any problem in the print preview, then you will have to rectify your file or orientation or any other setting in order to get it right as per your selection. In print preview, there are other settings also. There are other statistics like print time, amount of time your object will take to print. This will take 39 minutes 31 seconds. This time will not be exact what is shown here. It might be slightly more or it might be slightly less. This is the layer count, that is the number of layers in which the software has divided your part as per the layer height which you have selected. Now we have selected 0.2 mm. If you see this here, we have selected 0.2 mm. So as per that, the slicer has sliced it into 200 layers, of which every layer has a height of 0.2 mm. Total number of lines and the amount of filament needed is 3212 mm. So this is from this tab you can get the idea of the time and the filament needed for printing this object. Now if you come to visualization, you can see the complete code by clicking on this button, and if you want to see how the entire object will be printed, you can select on this option, last one, that is show layer range, and if you rotate the view, now I will show you how to understand this. Now you see this black tab here, black dot, this is your home position, or you can see, just assume that this is your printer and it is facing you. Now the hot end will come to this position for homing, it will touch the Z axis by moving down, Z axis and stop, and then it will move up and it will reach up till this height where you can see this purple line. It will move, it will come up to this height, and from there it will go down like this. As you can see this line, this purple line, it will go exactly in the same manner, and it will come to the center or wherever you have placed this object. Right. It will come to the center, and all the purple color, or it may be a different color in your software as per the setting, this shows the path of your extruder, how your extruder will move while printing. So if you see this yellow, purple path, it will first come like this. It will start printing from this point, then it will move like this, then from there it will come here, and so on. So this blue path, this blue color is denoting the path of the print head. Now this is the first layer. If you do it as select as 0, it will not show you any layer. So now this is the first layer while printing. Now these options will be very helpful in seeing a zoomed or close-up view. Now this is the first layer which the print head will lay down on the bed. Now if you select, now if you keep increasing, this is the skirt which I had shown you. Right, this is the skirt and this is the main object. Now if you zoom in, and you click in this, now you can see that the object is increasing in layer height. Right, it will keep on increasing, and this is the support. Actually all this part which you are seeing, this is the support material which it is printing. And there you see from this point, the entire object will be printed on the support material. Right, so you see like this entire thing is the support, and first it has printed support, and then it has slightly joined this part, and it will bring the entire part on the support. So it will print the main object on the support part. So now if you go, now you can see that it is building this is the main object. This is the main object and this is the support, and it will keep on printing it. There you go. This is how the entire object will be printed. So with print preview, you can get a very good idea about how your object will print, or if you have any issue in the slicing of the object. Now from the print preview tab, once you have sliced the object, you can save your object for printing with the SD card. You can either go to save to file or save for SD print option. If you click on save to file, it will be saved. Don't change the extension that because we want it to be saved by the G code extension. Keep the extension as G code and you can give it any name and save it in the SD card. Once you click on the save button, after giving any name to your file in this tab, after you click the save button, if the file is big in size, then the software will take some time to save that sliced file into your SD card. So don't just take out your SD card immediately after clicking on the save button, because if you do that, the file will not be saved, or it might be saved, only a part of the file might be saved, and it might print initially only up to a point where the file has been saved. So it might result in a half print, or a failed print. So the best thing is to wait for 10, 20 or 30 seconds if the file is big enough. If the file is too big, you will see that the software will show a not responding. It will show not responding on the top, on this area. But there is nothing to worry about. Once the file is saved in the card, it will automatically start working again. So this you have to keep in mind. So this is how you save your file in the SD card for printing. So in short, you first have to go to object placement tab, drag and drop any object in this area, or go to load and select any object. The object will be placed in the area in this grid. You can either rotate it by going to this option, or you can scale it by using this option, or you can move it by selecting it like this on the build plate. Once you have done that, you can go to the slicer tab. You can do whatever changes if you want to do in the configuration of Cura. You can do any changes. Click on save. Then again you can go to filament. If you want to change the temperature or any other setting, you can go in this tab, click on save, close. And if you want any support adhesion type, you can select anything from this. You can select the quality from here. If you want support, you can select it from here, and then you can simply click on slice with Cura. In this way, your object will be sliced for printing with your printer, and then you can just click on save to file or save for SD print and save the file by any name in your SD card. So this is the entire process of preparing the file with Repetier host and Cura engine for printing with Ordbot Hadron. Now we have forgot to tell you one more thing. This is the infill density. Infill density is actually the amount of plastic which it will fill in the object. Now I will select another object for that purpose. Suppose if we have this 20 mm box. Now suppose the infill we select is 10%. This is something which you can change very frequently. And if we slice it, so now if we move this object, this is how your object will come up, and these things which you are seeing, these grid sort of things, this is what the infill is. This is the infill. This pattern is the infill. This pattern can be changed by going to the slicer again, configuration, and going to this pattern, this structures tab, and selecting the infill pattern, grade, lines, concentric or automatic, and by just clicking on the save button. Whatever changes you make there, just save them and then again slice it, and you will see the changes here in the print preview tab. So this is the infill. Now if I change infill from 10% to say 30% and slice it again, you will see that those patterns have increased in numbers. These grid patterns have increased in numbers. It means that this part will have more strength as compared to the earlier part, but then this will take more time and more material as well. So this is what the infill is. Now suppose I increase this infill to 60% or to say 70% and slice it again, then these patterns will again increase in number and they will become smaller in size. That is, they will increase in the numbers and the density of the part will increase, and you can see that the time taken and the amount of filament will also increase. So this is the infill. So infill actually makes the object stronger, heavier, and it increases the time and the amount of material which is required to print it. So one has to choose the infill percentage carefully as per the object application. If the object is only meant for aesthetic purpose, it is generally printed at 10%, 20%, 15%. If the object has to be used in 3D printers for 3D printer parts, for 3D printer plastic parts, it can be printed at say 30% or 35%. Or if it has to be used in the area where the temperature is a concern, suppose it has to be used in extruder parts or any other parts, you can print it at say 50%, 60%, 70%. But generally the parts can be printed at 30% or say 35%. If the objects are meant only for aesthetic purpose, only for display purpose, then generally 10%, 15% is more than enough. And at 30-35% also the objects are very, very strong. So this is what the infill is. If you select this option, enable cooling, the print fan will automatically start moving after the first layer. At the first layer, the print fan has to be switched off, and by default it is off, because if you will start running the print fan at the first layer, the melted plastic will not stick properly to the bed and it will result in warping of the object. Filament setting, you can select the profile which you have saved in this configuration filament tab here. So that is the same profile which you will have to select in filament settings. So we have selected default here. Now you can click on slice with Cura engine and it will be sliced. Your object will be sliced. To see the complete sliced code, you can click on this button, and you can, to see the travel moves, you can click on this button. So this is how the entire process of preparing your file for printing with Ordbot Hadron is done. You can click on save to file, save for print, or if you have connected your printer to your laptop or a PC with a USB cable, you can just click on this print option and the entire print process will begin. Since we have not connected this to the printer, that is why this option is not available here. In next videos we will explain you about manual controls and the SD card option. For this video we thank you.